Romans 3, Paul picks up where he left off in the last chapter, talking about Jews and Gentiles. He said, so is there any advantage to being a Jew? What is the value of circumcision? He says, well, much in every way. To begin with, the Jews were entrusted with the oracles of God. Now, I'll let you read this, but he's trying to argue that it's not a bad thing to be Jewish. It's great. God first came and revealed himself to the Jewish nation first, but then he says this, are we Jews any better off? No, not at all. For we have already charged that all, both Jew and Greek, are under sin. As it is written, no one is righteous, not even one. So again, he's drawing a distinction between Jews and Gentiles in some ways, but at the end of the day, he's saying we're all under sin, Jew and Gentile alike. We have all sort of been subjected to this fall. And so he comes down to verse 20. He says, for by works of the law, no human being will be justified in God's sight, since through the law comes knowledge of sin. So he's setting us up for this passage that is so famous and well known. You've probably heard it before. Let's go ahead and get to it. Verse 21. He says, but now the righteousness of God has been manifested apart from the law, although the law and the prophets bear witness to it. So he's saying that the Old Testament, think of it like that, the Old Testament bears witness to this, that this was God's plan all along. And here it is, the righteousness of God through faith in Jesus Christ for all who believe. For there's no distinction between Jew and Gentile. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, and all are justified by his grace as a gift through the redemption that is in Christ Jesus. So Paul says we're all under sin and we're all equally under grace if we put our faith in Jesus Christ. So if you put your faith in Christ, then his blood covers your sin, and it doesn't matter if you're a Jew or a Gentile. He says this, for we hold that one is justified, anyone really, by faith apart from the works of the law. Or is God the God of Jews only? Is he not the God of Gentiles also? Yes, of Gentiles also, since God is one who will justify the circumcised, in other words, Jews, by faith, and also the uncircumcised, Gentiles, through faith. Do we then overthrow the law by this faith? By no means. On contrary, we uphold the law. So as you read this whole chapter, he's going to talk about law and grace. Remember, the themes are all the same here, but you have to understand in the context, he was writing to people who thought, well, maybe the Jewish Christians were sort of superior Christians because God came to them first. And Paul is trying to get rid of that argument. He's saying we're all the same. We all sin, Jew and Gentile alike, and we all come to God through faith. That's where our righteousness is. Now, in the next chapter, he's going to tie it all together with Abraham. So that's chapter 4, but first read chapter 3, and we'll see you tomorrow for the next one.